That kind introduction. I think of all the introductions I've ever had, that's the most recent. You may wonder why I'm here. It's all Nancy's fault. She called me some time ago. I think it was last Friday. And she said, "We've been advertising you're going to come to our anniversary dinner. Is there any chance you can do it?" I said, "Nancy, I hate to mention this, but what about the speaker's fee? You know, this day and age, a few $100 one way or another can't be sneezed at." But boy, I don't know whether you've ever argued with her about money. She is tough. And we finally argued about 20 minutes and we agreed on $50. So I sent her the $50 and here I am. You know, some people say, what do the past presidents of Rotary International really do? Well, we're kind of like a corpse at a funeral. We absolutely essential for the occasion, and you don't have a very big part to play in the program, and they sure as heck don't want to hear you speak. You know, I saw a guy in the street last week, and he says, "You know, I heard your last speech." I said, "Well, I'm not sure it was my last one." He said, "It should have been." You know, my first contact with Rotary goes back a long, long time ago. I grew up in a little town in Ohio, and I used to go to Rotary every week. Every Monday noon, I went to Rotary. I had the best attendance of anyone because they paid me to go to Rotary. I was a waiter. I was a waiter and a busboy for the Rotary Club in this Rotary little town. And so when I became the world president, I decided to go back to the town, make up at the club meeting just to assure them that even the busboy can be elected president of Rotary International. It was, it was not a very big club. As a matter of fact, that club was so small, they only had a three-way test. They had those three questions. Is it fun? Will it hurt anybody? Will anyone find out? That's all you had to know to belong to that Rotary Club. You know, it's you have a lot of experience. I got some notes here. I don't really need them just to know, except to know when I'm finished. You know, when you get old enough to be the president of Rotary International, you've got to be real old. And your memory starts going. A lot of other things have already gone. And you know, I have a couple friends that were out to dinner a short time ago, and one of them says to the other, "Hey, something's happened to you." He said, What do you mean?" He said, "Well, your memory's so much better than it used to be." He says, "All right, I'll admit it. I'm going to a memory school." He says, "A memory school? How does that work?" He says, "Well, everything's associated. You think of one thing, that helps you remember something else." I said, "That's pretty interesting. What's the name of your memory school?" He says, "The school is called what are those long red things you give your wife on Valentine's Day?" He says, "A rose." "That's it." "Hey, Rose, what's the name of that memory school?" Well, when you begin to forget it like this, they elect you president of Rotary International. I know Mary Elaine and I, we belong to the Rotary Club over in Moraga, on the other side of the bay. Moraga is a Spanish name, as some of you can easily tell. Moraga, freely translated, means large mortgage. We have a Rotary Club over there. It's a breakfast club that meets at noon. And most of our members are kind of old. Well, I don't know what you'd call them old, but our lunches are catered by Meals on Wheels. And, I was at my meeting the other day, and some guy says, you know, my wife says, let's go upstairs and make love. He says, can't do both. Well, and another guy in my club was saying, you know, he said, I remember that night when I made love for 1 hour and 3 minutes. He says, when was that? He says, the night they turned the clocks back. Well, that gives you a little idea what my Rotary Club is like over there. They're not all old guys, but I said to Mary Elena just the other day, now do I really look 87? She says, no, but you used to. So, that gets you a little idea of our Rotary Club. Our club, the insurance guy who gives out the calendars each year, in our club he only gives them 3 months at a time. Well, I better say something before I finish. And I was giving a speech the other night, we're driving home, and I turned to Mary Elena and I said, well, how did I do tonight? She said, well, you did pretty well, but you missed several good opportunities to sit down. And I probably missed them already here tonight. You know, let me commend your club for the 90 years and the other clubs for joining in to share Rotary here, 90 years of in this great community. Do you realize when you think about 90 years that somebody in Petaluma has been going to a Rotary lunch for over 4,600 times? Now that's a lot of lunches. Some time ago a friend of mine says, why do you Rotarians go attend a meeting every week? And my answer, well, you never know when you go into that Rotary meeting who needs you. You see, I look around this room and I see friends that have been Rotary friends for years. You're just brought together by this magic of this organization called Rotary. Do you realize how important it is to go to a Rotary meeting each week? You never know who in that room really needs you. You never know who's troubled, whose life is in despair, who's going through a tough time, or conversely, who's had something so exciting happening in his life or his family or his grandkids, he just wants to share it with everybody. You see, there's something magic about going to a Rotary meeting. You see, nearly everyone you meet is fighting some kind of a battle in their personal or family or business affairs. And just a pat on the back, a handshake, a friendly smile, or even just a listening ear can mean an awful lot. That's the friendship of Rotary. The friendship that makes differences in other friends' lives. And the amazing thing is that each week, you may never know which person in that room really needs to visit with you for a few minutes. And there's more than friendship in Rotary, and it also is service. I recall giving a speech in Oakland a few years ago, and I was talking about Mary Lane and I tramping through mud huts in an African village in Ethiopia giving polio vaccine. And I mentioned that if our little group hadn't been there in that remote village, there'd probably have been no one in the world who had really cared about those poverty-stricken youngsters. And when the luncheon was over, a Rotarian came up with a young lady who had been his guest, and she said, I'm a school teacher in one of the toughest high schools in Oakland. My work is so difficult, and I've had so much trouble, I've been planning to resign. But listening today in this Rotary meeting, I made up my mind that those kids need me. Tears came down her eyes, and she said, I've made up my mind that I'm going to continue to be an inner city teacher, no matter how tough it gets. Thanks for helping me see what it really means to accept a responsibility. You see, you never know who in that Rotary meeting, in that audience, is ready to hear a message of service. You never know who needs your friendship or your listening ear when you walk into your Rotary meetings. I remember speaking up in Seattle during the early days of our Polio Plus program. And after lunch, a Rotarian came up and to the lectern and reached up there, and he handed me a check for $1,000. And he says, I want to be one of those Paul Harris things that you're talking about. He says, today I found out in this Rotary meeting what the Rotary Foundation really does. He says, look, I had polio when I was a child, and I've walked with this cane all my life. He said it would mean an awful lot to me if just a few other children would not have to follow my crippled footsteps. Maybe, he said, maybe I could change the life of someone. And that's the amazing message of Rotary. Maybe I could change the life for someone, or maybe working together with Rotarians around the world, we could change the lives of people everywhere. And for 90 years, that's the concept that you've kept alive here in Petaluma. Because you had a Rotary Club and you attended an awful lot of Rotary meetings. In Rotary, you never know what one person can do in helping others. And here on your 90th anniversary, I wonder if Rotary is still as relevant in other communities as it was in 1923, as the nation was recovering from World War II and nearly entering into the Great Depression years. What would happen if Petaluma Rotary disappeared tomorrow? Would anyone notice? They'd all go to the Breakfast Club or the Valley Club, I can tell you that. Would anyone care if the club disappeared? Would it be on the 10 o'clock news? Petaluma Rotary goes out of business. You see, every Rotary act. Did you get that picture? Okay. Every Rotary activity is not world-shaking or monumental. Actually, most of the things that a Rotary Club does are we're destined to perform small, humble tasks as if they were great and monumental. But that doesn't mean that these normal little tasks, kindnesses, things you do in the community are not important. Building a better community right here is a noble task. You know, teaching a person to read, that's a noble task. Caring for those who are sick, what a noble task. Giving drug prevention guidance to kids in the community, what a noble task it is. Taking food to the food bank or a mission dining room is a noble task, not just on holidays, but just a day when you went down and filled up the trunk of your car with food because somebody needed it. How much does a Rotary Club really know about the real needs of the community today? A story was told me about a young and very successful executive who was traveling down a neighborhood street one day, going a bit too fast in his Jaguar, I might say, and he was watching for kids darting in between the cars and running around and slowing down when he thought he saw something. As the car passed, no children appeared. Instead, all of a sudden, a brick hit the side of his car and smashed the side door of his Jaguar. He slammed on the brakes and backed the Jag up to the spot where the brick had been thrown. The angry driver jumped out of his car and he grabbed the nearest kid. He pushed him against the back of the car and shouted, "What are you doing about this? What are you doing? What the heck is this all about, throwing a brick at my car? That's a new car and that brick is going to cost a lot of money to repair. Why did you do it?" And the young boy was so apologetic. He says, "Please, mister, please, I'm sorry, but I didn't know what else to do." He pleaded, "I threw the brick because nobody else would stop." With tears coming down his face and then off his chin, the youth pointed to a spot just around that car. "It's my brother. He rolled off the curb in his wheelchair and he fell out and I can't lift him up." Now sobbing, the boy asked the executive, would you please help me? Get him back into the wheelchair. He's hurt and he's too heavy for me. Moved beyond words, the driver tried to swallow the rapidly lump in his throat. He hurriedly lifted the disabled boy back into the wheelchair, then took out a linen handkerchief and dabbed the boy's scrapes and cuts on his scarred boy. A quick look told him everything was going to be all right. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. May God bless you, the boy cried. Too shook up for words, the man simply watched the boy push the wheelchair-bound brother down the sidewalk towards their home. It seemed like a long, slow walk by the time he got back into his Jaguar. The damage on the side of his car was certainly noticeable. But the strange thing is, that young executive never bothered to repair that dented side door. He could have easily had it repaired, but he kept that dent in the side of his car to remind him what he learned that moment. Don't go through life so fast that somebody needs to throw a brick at you just to get your attention. Look around the community. There are real calls for help. Does somebody have to throw a brick at a Rotary Club to get their attention? Look around your community. Look around the world. There are people calling for help. People are yearning for clean water and food and health care and education and just somebody who cares. Rotarians have got to hear these messages and then respond to those needs. You see, Rotary clubs must be alert to some of the simple needs of those in our communities who live in poverty and hopelessness and just facing despair every day of their life. You see, reading a story to a kindergarten or first grade class gives a gift to kids who have never heard an adult read a book. 10 minutes, you could be their hero. Have you ever visited a senior center? Spent an afternoon just talking and laughing and listening to people who have no one to talk to? You'd be amazed at how important an hour could be in somebody else's life. Have you ever gone to the store, loaded up your car trunk with canned foods and taken it all to the local food bank, and see the surprise on the face of the employees when you show up and it isn't even a holiday? Have you ever asked the high school principal and the chief of police and the scout leaders and the director of recreation and the judge of the juvenile courts and other community leaders, what are the three most significant needs of our community? Is it drugs, gangs, homelessness, hunger, senior citizens' loneliness, street safety, deteriorating recreation? What I'm saying, my friends, is that Rotary service can be just little acts of kindness. Doing just random acts of kindness are a fantastic project for a Rotary Club. And the amazing thing is you can change a community. And if not, just doing acts of kindness will scare other people out of their mind. My message is simply this. For Rotary service to be important, you don't have to be the president of the Rotary Club or president of Rotary International or a district governor. Service can be the things that each member does. Thoughtful caring for your neighbors and your customers, youth groups and senior centers and employees and others with whom you deal every day. And that's what this Rotary motto, service above self, really means. And it's lasted here in your community for 90 years. I have people tell me, oh, I'd like to do something worthwhile for others, but I just don't have any free time. But I can assure you that Rotary service, volunteer service, isn't done by people with time on their hands. It's done by people who have caring in their hearts. It's done by people who believe that Rotary service can be done because it takes some time out of their other activities. But they make time to help others. Just in our daily lives, we take time to eat and to watch TV and to shop and do the laundry and drive the kids and talk on the phone and play golf and go to a ball game or whatever we do. But a real Rotarian puts in a few minutes each day as a time for service. They don't wait till the brick is thrown into their head to get their attention. Mother Teresa wrote some words which I might paraphrase a little as I close. Really describe what the challenge of Rotary is today. She said, "When I am homeless, I dream that you would open a door. When I am cold, I dream that you would give me a coat. When I'm weary, I dream that you would help me find rest. When I'm anxious, I dream that you would calm my fears. When I'm illiterate, I dream that you would teach me to read. When I am lonely, I dream that you would give me some love. When I'm sick, I dream that you would care for my needs. When I'm unemployed, I dream that you would find me a job. When I'm searching for kindness, I dream that you'll hold out your hand. When I am aged, I dream that you would just bother to smile. When I'm restless, I dream that you might care. When I'm laughed at or insulted, I dream that you would stand by my side. And when I am so happy, I dream that you might share my joy." That's the real challenge on this anniversary of what a Rotary Club can do in their community. That's the real challenge for this anniversary occasion. And this historic club and the other clubs that have grown from it is to be relevant for another 90 years. There's only a few of you are going to be here 90 years from now. Let us hope that your dreams you strive to fulfill for the people of Petaluma and the people of the world will be worthy of this Rotary Club. Always remember that there are two sides to Rotary: friendships, fellowships, the laugh, the good times we have at our weekly meeting, and the service that we have to build a better community. So congratulations, Petaluma, Petaluma Sunrise, Petaluma Valley, Petaluma Nighttime, Petaluma at the bar, wherever it is. Congratulations for 90 years of service, and may always continue to reach out to meet the needs of this great community. God bless you.
How about Cliff Dochterman? What a guy, huh? I have a very special presentation this evening to give in the Dochterman's honor. We have some young people that need to get to school tomorrow morning, so we push the program up. I'd like to bring out Boy Scouts Troop 8. Our club has sponsored the troop since their beginning on March 30th of 1942. So they're celebrating their 70th anniversary this year. And in honor of the Dochtermans, we have a gift for them in the amount of $250.
come around on this side and you hold it down there. Come up here, Scoutmaster. It's good to see you, and it's a well-deserved honor to, and I appreciate that we're able to give this contribution to your Scout troop. I hope it'll take you camping and maybe even bring you back. Our Rotary Club, we have a project to send kids to summer camp, whether they want to go or not. We just send them to summer camp. So I hope you guys, whatever you can do, to share this with some of the guys that need some special help to go to camp or to go on some special outings, because it's a great program. A long time ago, you wouldn't even know that this date existed in history, but in 1939, or 1937, I had the pleasure, somebody loaned me, the neighbors gave me 50 cents so I could become a member of the Boy Scouts. And 2 years later, I became the youngest Eagle Scout in the United States. That was before not only you were not born, your parents were not born, your grandparents were born. So congratulations, and I want to say something specially to the Scoutmaster here. To say something, we appreciate the leadership of adults that give it to kids. There's an awful lot of people that are anxious to say, we support Scouting. But when you give not only your money and your time, but also your heart and your love, that's important. And I salute every leader that takes the leadership you have. God bless you. Thank you, guys. Okay. You better run out and cash that very quickly. This is a low-budget club here, so better make sure you get the money. Okay, guys, give a good hand for these Scouts. And, thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you, Scoutmaster and troops. Go do your homework. It's that time of night, school night. Cliff, on behalf of the 3 Rotary Clubs, we have a present for you and your wife we'd like to give you to take home. And for the rest of you guys, enjoy. Uh-oh.
It's leaking.
It's leaking. Get a straw, fast.
Is this do you have a puppy in here?
No, if you like that, I can carry that.
Thank you all very, very much.